Colton Praill. He's got more for us. So Carney is playing it cool. Trump's saying, you know, there's no plan to meet. We like the deal. Where do you see this going? I mean, are talks at a total standstill, Colton?
It's interesting because the framing of this is so different from both sides. Yes, talks are off right now. That much has been clear. Donald Trump saying that he's not going to continue those because of this Ronald Reagan ad, but also framing this around the idea that the U.S. is very comfortable with where things stand at the moment. We know that is the case by and large. The U.S. is in a much better position compared to Canada because of the way that these tariffs operate, but also because of the exponential harm, you could call it, caused by sectoral tariffs in Canada. We are being hit much harder than just about any other country in the world by those sectoral tariffs because of how reliant we are on the U.S. market. It puts Canada in a very tricky position where there is more of an impetus on our side to get a deal done. But speaking this morning, the Prime Minister made it clear that that deal was actually relatively close, or at least when it came to relief on sectors like steel, aluminum, and energy. He called the talks that were ongoing very comprehensive, and in a 30-minute press conference repeatedly came back to how much progress had been made and that Canada was going to wait to continue to make progress on those talks as soon as the U.S. was ready to return. Have a listen to the Prime Minister this morning on what was actually happening in the room between negotiators.
Those in the room, those exchanging term sheets, those having the discussions about specific areas where we can make mutual progress to the benefit of workers and businesses and communities in our respective countries had been making progress. Those ads came. The president had the reactions which you have seen, made the decisions that he has made, which, you know, those are his decisions to take, and we're in the situation we're in.
So to your question, Marcia, about where do we go now? Well, it's about waiting for those talks to resume, but it does seem, at least from the Canadian side, that there is an expectation that should those talks resume, there is room for progress, even if the U.S. is stating that they're comfortable with the way that things stand at the moment.
Now, while tensions appear high with President Trump, the Prime Minister said earlier today that he plans to meet with China's president at the APEC summit. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, President Xi Jinping, of course, this is following up on the Prime Minister's meeting with the Chinese Premier, their number two, a little earlier on this fall. This is something where we heard Mark Carney talking about opportunities for growth, not just for an economic relation, but a restarting of the relationship itself with China. Obviously, there's been significant pressure from provinces on the Prime Minister to try to reopen negotiations and a trading relationship with China, especially from Western provinces. It's a significant market for the prairies when it comes to canola. It's a significant market in the aquaculture products in BC. And so this is something that is a long time coming for the Prime Minister. We've seen him referring to plans to potentially meet President Xi Jinping. He talked when he was in New York, for example, in September at the UN General Assembly, saying that he hoped to meet when the time was right. It appears that this time is right. So there'll be an APEC at South Korea at the end of October, start of November, and that's when this meeting is scheduled to occur. It is not necessarily a meeting where you're going to see a trade deal come out of this. This is, as the Prime Minister framed, the beginning of restarting those conversations. It's about more than just an exchange. It's more about creating that relationship, and that's how Ottawa is framing the desire there. Of course, there has been a number of warnings from China experts in the country who are quick to highlight a couple of things. One, the fact that this could anger the Americans, especially when it comes to dropping things like the EV tariffs, which Mark Carney was asked about today but did not answer directly, saying it was too early to make a call on that. But two, also quick to point out that the relationship with China has been adversarial for quite some time for good reason as well, and that there needs to be a healthy dose of caution and skepticism when entering into a relationship with China. And of course, we've heard the Prime Minister refer to that in his own words as well, saying that there will be areas where the two countries can work together, but on things like national defense, security, those are likely to be out of bounds for that future relationship.
All right, Colton Praill for us. Colton, thanks for all that. We'll see you next hour. Colton joining us from Ottawa. For the very latest on this and other stories, go to our website, ctvnews.ca.